Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel, my friends. In this video, you will be learning software engineering and project management, wherein we will be focusing on the topic spiral models in software engineering. So, this is a very risk driven software development process, as we all know. So, let's know more about this module in this video. Firstly, let's get a small introduction to this spiral model. So, the spiral module in the software development process is nothing but a sequence of or a series of process which we follow that will be combining iterative development with systematic risk assessment. So, this model will follow an iterative development progress wherein each time like when you're developing a software you will be iterating it and recursively you will be getting the output of the project which you're being developed in the software field. So this model was first given by or developed by Barry Boehm in the year 1986. So the main purpose of this model was to address and minimize the project risks that have been caused through repeated cycles. So the key features of the spiral model are iterative process. As I already told you, development is carried out in a series of loops or sequence of spirals. Then it is risk driven. So each cycle will focus on identifying and addressing the individual risks caused. Then the involvement is more as continuous feedback from the stakeholders needs to be given. So this will ensure the alignment with requirements. Then we have flexibility. So this model not only is risk driven but it also is flexible. So flexible is nothing but the fact that it adapts to any changes in the project scope or in the requirements of the stakeholders in further timeline. So when you're developing a project in the long run, if the stakeholder or the client has more requirements and it is need to be added in the middle of the project, this iterative progress or process, that is the spiral model, helps you adapt to those changes. Hence it is called flexible. Then we have the phases of the spiral model. So there are four phases in the spiral model. One is the objective setting, wherein you will define your goals or the objectives and the constraints, and if there are any alternatives used. Then risk assessment. So you are going to identify and mitigate the potential risk that can be caused in this project while developing it. So in this phase you will be defining the risks of the project, what may cause in the future timeline. The third one is the engineering and development, which is the most important part of the development process, wherein you will be designing and developing and also testing the software. The last phase of the spiral model is the evaluation and planning phase, wherein you will review the outcomes and plan the next iteration of the model. Here is the diagram of the spiral model to know in detail. So, there is a graph which is divided into four quadrants, wherein the first quadrant says planning, the second quadrant says risk analysis, wherein risk management and prototypes have been made. So, in the planning phase, you will sit together, communicate with your team, and plan what you're going to require or what you are going to include in your project, that is the software development project. Then, in the risk analysis part, that is the second quadrant, wherein you will be developing a prototype of your model, and once you have developed the prototype of your model you will be calculating the risks that can be occurring in future, that is the risk analysis. Then we have the engineering or the most crucial part, wherein you will be designing your application, you will be doing the coding for your application, that is the programming phase. Then you will be integrating the front end, the back end, and the databases if required for whatever the software you're developing. Then there is the testing phase where you will be testing the quality of your project, and you will be assuring the quality. And the last part is the implementation phase. So all these five come under the engineering phase. After once implementation is done, that is once your sample software product is implemented, the next part is evaluating. So you self evaluate this part of the process so that you can go forward to the next part. In the evaluation phase, after self evaluating, you will seek the client for their feedbacks. So once the client feedback is given, this spiral continues again, wherein you will be planning again for the next iterative development, and then the further process in a spiral. Hence, it is called the spiral model. Then we have the advantages of the spiral model. So the four main advantages of this spiral model are risk management, which is early identification and resolution of risk. Since you will be doing the prototype and the risk management analysis in the second part itself, so risk management is one good advantage of the spiral model. The second one is flexibility. So in the spiral model, you will always have that adaptability to change, because say there is one process going on now, and in the engineering phase a client needs another requirement. So in that case, you can evaluate the following process which you are already done right now, and go back to planning for the next iterative process where you will be adding the new requirement of the client. Hence, it is flexible and adaptable to any changes. Then we have the customer feedback. As I have already told you, the evaluation part requires feedbacks or self evaluation by the clients or the stakeholders. Hence, the product will definitely meet the user expectations. The fourth main advantage is the phased development, wherein it will allow incremental releases. So you need not make the whole software at once. So in this spiral model, you will be repeating the whole circle, this whole loop, again and again. Hence, for one single process, this one loop can be taken, and for the other extra feature, if you are adding, another loop needs to be taken. Hence, there is a incremental process wherein at each time when you are including a new functionality, you will be increasing or you will be making some advancements into your project, which is called as the incremental releases. Not only the advantages, this model, the spiral model, also have disadvantages. That is complexity, wherein it requires expertise in managing the risks, and there are cost factor too, wherein it is very expensive at some times for even small projects. Then there is time consuming. So as we all know, we'll be looping around this spiral again and again, which for some applications might be time consuming. As it says, multiple iterations can extend project timelines. So the other disadvantage is that it is not ideal for simple projects. So as the time consuming part says, it is an overkill for straightforward requirements. So you need not follow the whole loop for the easier requirements. Hence this model is not that ideal for the simple projects. When exactly to use the spiral model? So the ideal scenarios that can be called as the instances where you can use the spiral model are the projects with complex and evolving requirements. Evolving as in the project that has more and more changes in the long run. So in the long run, maybe you will be adding 10 or 15 more functionalities, and the complexity of the project will be more. Hence, in that project, you can be using the spiral model. High risk projects where risk mitigation is critical. So in products or the projects in which in the development phase, you need to predict the risks. So in those projects wherein the risk assumption or analysis is very critical, you can use the spiral model. Then the large scale systems which require phased delivery. So phased delivery is nothing but giving incremental releases in short time. So in those cases too, you can use the spiral model. But it is not recommended, as I already told you, to small, low budget and simple projects because it kills time and it is very time consuming and a matter of efficiency. So if you have to compare between the other models that exist in the software development progress, so there is the waterfall model and also agile model. So here is the comparison between the spiral, waterfall and the agile models. So the complexity is high in the spiral model, low in the waterfall model, and it is moderate in the agile model. Whereas in terms of user involvement, spiral model has continuous user involvement, uh, just like the agile model, wherein the waterfall model has limited user requirements and limited user involvements. When it comes to risk management, it is very extensive in spiral model because the main key feature of the spiral model is its risk management or risk analysis. Wherein in waterfall model, this risk mitigation is very minimal, and in agile model, it is iterative. So the flexibility stands lowest for the waterfall model as it is very useful for only the simple projects, whereas the flexibility is high in spiral model and very high in the agile model. So in conclusion, I would like to say that the spiral model is a robust and a risk driven approach to the overall software development, whereas it is going to balance your flexibility and it has a systematic planning as we loop around the same processes in a iterative manner. So it is very effective for projects that require any changes or adaptability and also thorough risk assessment, as I've already told you. That's all for today, my friends. We'll meet again with more such contents. Until then, please like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you.